Hello, welcome once again to the Drivers of Change show. My name is Emmanuel and here we influence change and together our world changes. Don't forget this show is powered by True Media. Climate change is the defining issue of our time and we are at a defining moment. From shifting weather patterns that threaten food production to the rising of sea levels that increases the risk of catastrophic flooding. The impact of climate change is global in scope and unprecedented in scale. Today I have with me a young man who's so passionate about climate change and he's here to enlighten us. Without wasting much of your time, I will allow my guest to introduce himself. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Drivers of Change show.
Thank you very much.
You have the honor to introduce yourself.
My name is Emmanuel Kwabena Owusu. I'm a master's student in Kenyatta University, taking climate change and sustainability.
Climate change and sustainability?
Yes.
Masters. Why are you so passionate about climate change?
My brother, let me take you to the scriptures. Since many of your listeners and viewers are Christians, and some believe in a God. Mm-hmm. Can you take your Bible? Let me show you something. Hey. In Isaiah chapter 24.
Climate change, and you are requesting for Bible.
Isaiah 24 verse 5.
I have Bible on my phone.
And 6.
Isaiah
24. Mm-hmm. Verse 5 and 6.
Okay. Verse 5 and 6.
Yes.
The earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant.
My brother, the everlasting covenant. Mm-hmm. You see, in your introduction, you said flooding everywhere. You've been seeing the recent flooding that is happening across the globe. Mm-hmm. Water is destroying the lives of people. Mm-hmm. Tsunamis, tornadoes.
So it's because you've broken the everlasting
covenant. Now, the covenant God gave to Noah was that I will no longer use water to destroy the land. But what do we see nowadays?
Okay.
This is one of the things that makes me passionate about climate change.
Okay.
He said the people have defiled the land. Read the verse 6.
Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Its people must bear their guilt. Therefore, earth's inhabitants are burned up, and very few are left.
So the earth is cursed. There's a curse on the earth.
Wow.
Heat waves everywhere. Locust invasion everywhere. A lot of things are happening. Now, the inhabitants are not only human beings. Mm-hmm. There are animals that are going into extinct nowadays. Okay. Go to the Nairobi National Park and see for yourself. Most of the animals are they've gone into extinction.
Wait, let's begin from here. What is all about climate change? I want you to give me a clear picture of what climate change is.
Psalm 82 verse 5 says that they don't know, they don't understand, and because of this, the whole earth is out of course. Mm-hmm. What is climate change? In basic terms, I don't want to go technical. Mm-hmm. We are looking at the changes in the statistical values of the weather patterns. Mm-hmm. Because climate, as you see it, is the continuous study of a certain weather pattern at a place for a period of time, like say 30 years. Mm-hmm. So we cannot say because it is raining today, climate has changed. No, my brother, you should note that the changes we are seeing today is as a result of the impact and the things that were done in the 17th, 18th, and 19th century. We are only bearing the cost of what happened in those days. So what is really happening nowadays is that on a normal day, when the sun is out, we are seeing the sun radiating its energy upon the surface of the earth. You should understand that not all the sun's rays reaches the earth's surface. Some of them are absorbed by particles we call the greenhouse gases. We talk of carbon dioxide, we talk of methane, we talk of nitrogen oxide, we talk of water vapor. Now, God purposely placed these things in space so that when it shines, all the sun rays will not reach the earth's surface. Mm-hmm. But then some will be absorbed and then warm the earth for us. That is what we call the albedo effect.
Okay.
So these issues that are happening every day, the greenhouse gas in the atmosphere are good for what it's supposed to do. But the moment you and I and our activities begin to put more and increase the limit of such a greenhouse gas, it contributes to absorbing higher amount of heat, thereby leading to the warming of the globe, which we call the global warming. Okay. There is a statistical increase in the temperature values of the earth. That is what we call global warming.
Okay.
globe is warming up. Why? Because of the activities we are doing. Let me surprise you. Are you aware that every 24 hours, human beings, the activities that we are doing, we are spewing about 152 million tons of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere?
How?
Through burning of fossil fuels, through burning of most of the things in our backyards, burning of refuse, cutting of trees, or food waste, the food we dump on our landfill site, they are contributing to higher amounts of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. And they increase the value of the CO2, methane, and all those things. And that is how come once it shines on a normal day, these gases absorb higher amount of the energy, and then we bring it back to the earth. That is how come we are seeing all these things that we are seeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's why I think you are so passionate about climate change.
Yes.
And even you are doing your master's in climate change. Do you think a lot of people are aware about what you just explained as climate change?
That is why I told you. They don't know. They don't understand. And because of that, the whole universe is out of course. So you see, people think that when we talk of climate change, it is for the scientists. It is for the climate scientists. But climate change involves everyone. Irrespective of where you find yourself, you can play a part in the issues of climate change. Now, what you have to notice is that what activities am I doing? Now, let me bring you to the basic things.
Okay, so you just give me the causes of climate change or the human activities that brings about climate change.
Presently, there are a lot of theories that have been propounded to talk about the causes or what causes climate change. Because the whole discussion of climate change is about causes, what is causing it, and what are its effects. Okay. Now, some hold the view that human activities is what is contributing to climate change, and that we call the anthropogenic global warming theory. They believe that the influence of man, the activities of man, like felling of trees, deforestation, which we know in our basic science, deforestation, burning of fossil fuels, the transportation, the fossil fuels that we use in all those things, electricity, energy, all these things are contributing to such a thing. Now, there are other theories we call the natural theory. Okay. Now, you should note that the earth as it is, okay, if there was no human being, the earth is moving. We call it the tectonic plates. You see? Now, the movement of this earth that you see contribute to the changes in the weather patterns. Now, all these things are also influence the positioning of the moon day in and day out. Like the last time, if you remember, when we went for a trip on Lake Naivasha, I was telling you that the waves that you see, okay, on that river body or water body, it is as a result of the movement of the moon. So it is the moon that determines the tides of the water bodies. You see, the flow of current, that is the moon, the positioning. Now, it is believed that all these activities that are ongoing, okay, the ocean current, the ocean movement, all those things contribute to changes in the weather patterns, and it can influence the climate. But you see, recently, we have come to realize that the activities of human beings, even the population growth itself, because I believe you know that as we are talking, you are breathing out carbon dioxide.
Yeah, sure.
And you are inhaling oxygen, is that not it?
Yeah.
That carbon dioxide coming out of you, it is contributing to the high amount of greenhouse gas we are talking about.
So should we stop breathing?
No, you don't stop breathing.
So what happens then?
That is why there are others who are arguing that we have to reduce population. Because the more we increase population, the more we are contributing to such things that are happening in the atmosphere. So these theories that the human activities that we are talking about, basically, we are looking at the things we do on a normal day. Now, there are research that are even saying that the emails we send every day, the TV games that we play, the mobile phones that we use every day, it is contributing to such things. Why? Because we consume higher amount of energy to charge these gadgets that we have around us. So, the issue of climate change, it has come to stay with us. That is why when you come to climate change studies, there are two things we look out for, mitigation and adaptation.
Okay.
Now, to mitigate means that to reduce its impact, to reduce it from happening. But adaptation, the thing has happened, so let us adapt to it. Let us find means and measures to go about it. And I thank Kenya. You see, the government of Kenya is doing very, very well when it comes to adaptation and mitigation of climate change. Now, there's something we call NDCs, the nationally determined contributions.
Okay.
Now, all the countries, all the 192 countries that subscribe to the Paris Agreement, okay, what they have come to do is that each country is trying to give its contribution it can give. And Kenya is saying that by 2030, what they want to do is that they want to cut down their emissions by 32%. which is a good start for the nation.
Yeah, it's part of the Vision 2030.
Vision 2030.
Okay.
Yes. And then in that way, they are looking at adaptation measures. And in adaptation measures, they are looking at areas, including climate change studies, into policies. You see, wherever there is policy and you include climate change into it, you're able to find rules and regulations to regulate the activities of human beings. Now, in mitigation, they are looking at the energy sector, the transport sector, because everyone wants to buy a car. As you sit here, when you get money, you want to buy a car.
Very fast.
Good. And are you aware that car you are buying, if you are going to use fossil fuel like petrol, diesel, whatever, you are going to contribute to the carbon monoxide. You exude a lot of carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. So these are the things that we are talking about, the petty things.
Wow.
Come to our homes, the food we waste. Are you aware that if food waste was to be a country, it would have only been third after US and China were the countries that produce higher amount of greenhouse gas into the atmosphere.
Food waste alone.
Food waste alone. You see,
wow.
Food waste alone produces about 8% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. And the one it produces is what we call methane. And that is the most dangerous, apart from the carbon dioxide. So, my brother, there is much to be explored.
Wait, let me take it from here.
Okay.
You know, you are trying to enlighten us about climate change. I think most people, this is the first time they are even aware. Or no, you are creating the awareness that even the food waste and the petty things we do, charging our phone, contributes to climate change. Over the years, that's been going on, right?
Yes.
So, can you give me some examples of things that has happened as a result of climate change?
Good. As a result of climate change.
Things that we can relate to.
Yes.
You know.
In 2020, just last year, 100,000 people lost their livelihood in Nakuru because of a flooding that happened. Naivasha. There are some places that have lost their settlement as a result of the high rise that happened in the Lake Naivasha. And I believe you were there and you saw it for yourself. And I was explaining some things to you. That because of these climate issues, it has led to this flooding, high tides, and all those things leading to that. Now, we look at farming in places, most places, pollution. Now, are you aware that in Warsaw, the capital of Poland, a child that is born today inhales into his system, his or her system, the amount, the pollution content of the thing that child is inhaling is equivalent to smoking 1,000 cigarettes.
1,000 cigarettes?
In a year, yes. Because
a newborn baby?
A newborn baby. Why? Because of the high pollutant levels in the atmosphere.
Wow.
All these things are happening. You see? Now, no country is exempted. In Mozambique, there was a hurricane called Hurricane Ida. It devastated a whole lot of places, destroying properties and lands. Let's go to Ghana. There was a flooding that occurred on June 3rd, 2017 or so, leading to the death and destruction of a whole lot of properties and lives. All these things are examples you can relate to it.
Okay.
Now, let me bring you home. We have something we call urban heat islands. Now, are you aware that nowadays, during the night, the room tends to be very hot. Most of our cities are turning into islands. Why? Because we are taking away the vegetation cover to create space for buildings. So we've exposed our land to hard surfaces. The greeny surfaces are out. So there are researchers who are also into green spaces, trying to conserve the green spaces. Kumasi was esteemed to be one of the garden cities. But the question is Kumasi still a garden city? It's a question to ask. We are paving way for buildings. Everyone wants to build. Everybody wants to put up a structure. And the more we do that, we expose the earth's surface to extreme heat and pressure.
Okay. Now, some of these things that you're talking about, in our everyday life, some are inevitable. You can agree with me, right? So what do you think, before we come to even the global solution and all that, let's start from our homes. They say charity begins at home. So from our homes, what do you think we can do when you talk about mitigation, right? What do you think we can do? What are some of the things we can avoid or reduce? How should we do it? You know?
Now, when we come to our personal homes, I'll begin with food waste because I'm passionate about waste. Now, why am I passionate about food waste? Let me just give you something. Are you aware that according to the FAO statistics, about 850 million people are suffering from hunger-related diseases? Yet, we are throwing 1/3 of the food we produce annually onto our landfill sites. It means that that food that we throw away every day, that can be able to solve the hunger problem. Okay, so we should dish out the portion we can finish. We shouldn't waste food.
Okay.
You see, that is my concern. The first point of call, food waste. We need to tackle it from that angle. Now, secondly, let's come to our day-to-day activities. Now, we all use our laptops. Is that not it?
Yeah.
Now, are you aware that there are times the laptop is full but it's still in charge, consuming higher amount of energy?
People even put their cell phones, laptop on charge and then
you go to sleep.
Okay.
So that energy that is being consumed, that energy is contributing to higher amount of emissions into the atmosphere. We need to begin from such petty things. Now, in 2019, okay, most countries, Ethiopia, for instance, in 2019, they planted about 300,000 trees. Now, the World Bank also launched a project to plant 1 million trees across the globe. I believe we can begin from home. We can put a tree in your backyard, because trees are known to absorb or sequester carbon dioxide. Okay, so if you're able to put up more trees, that is why there is that global initiative to plant trees at anywhere there is space. You see, so at our backyards, let's begin to do some small backyard gardens. Now, I know it is expensive, that those ones are for national issues. People are even investing in solar panels. You see, if you are to go into the national solutions and all those things, people are investing into such one. Now, Kenya is even investing into wind energy, which is very, very good. Why? Because all those things are going to reduce the thermal energy that we are producing. Because I know that Kenya relies solely on thermal plants for the electricity, unlike Ghana, where we rely on hydroelectric energy. Kenya relies on the heat that is coming from the earth surface for the energy consumption. But we can also begin to do all these small things in our day-to-day activities. Let us reduce the food waste. Let us try to reduce the amount of hours that we charge most of these things. If it is full, you leave it.
Okay, I get you. So, as a young man who is so passionate about climate change, you have enlightened us about the causes of climate change, the daily activities that increases the risk of, climate change and all that. What are you doing? What are some of the programs that you guys, in the field of climate change are putting across, to create awareness? Because I'm sure, I don't know, I can't talk based on statistics, but you know better that most people don't know about climate change. They don't know. Now that you've enlightened us in your own capacity and your organizations and all that, what is going on now in the world?
Yes.
Presently, climate change.
Presently, I'm affiliated to a global organization. We call it the Climate Reality Project, which was started in 2006 by the former Vice President Al Gore. And
of US, right?
Of US, yes. And what we basically do is to give public education, let people know that they can take action. You see, are you aware that of all the 17 goals of the SDGs, there is only one goal that is named, that has an action attached to it?
Okay.
Climate action.
Instead of climate change, is climate
Why?
action.
Because climate change is happening and we need to address it now. Now, are you aware that climate change affects all the other sectors of the SDGs? Come to talk of food security, hunger, life on land, life below water. All these things, climate change is affecting it.
Okay.
You see, so we need to take action. Now, to take action, we need to be informed. We need to be educated. That is why I'll give you a link so that you can post it on your YouTube channel for people to go online to see what is happening around the world. Yesterday, I found something, Youth United Nations agenda. And what they are doing is that they're encouraging the youth, especially the youth. Why? Now, globally, if you look at the world population, 1.2 billion is esteemed to be youth between the ages of 15 to 24. You see, so it tells you that the youth can do something. All these things that are happening, the hunger, the famine, the flooding, all those things, it affects the youth more than anyone. And you see, climate change is more about vulnerability. Who is most vulnerable when it comes to climate change? The youth, the children, all those ones. So the Younger Foundation is also helping that. Now, with the Climate Reality Project, what we do is that we give talks, you see.
Okay.
Now that there is this global pandemic where social distancing and limiting people in conferences, Previously, we used to give talks and do community outreach and all those things. It's still happening, but then it has reduced in a way as a result of this coronavirus. Okay. But what we do is that we do a lot of online presentations.
Okay.
If you go to our site, you can even request for a presentation.
What is the name of your site?
The Climate Reality Project.
Okay.
Yes, I'll give you the website for you to, people can just go online and do. Now, in the coming days, we are going to run another project where we'll be training people in climate change issue. That is why I got trained in July. You see, so it is free of charge. You don't pay anything, and you are being given certificate for that.
Okay.
So people can also take action in such a way, and then begin to know what is happening, come to know the realities on the ground, and then take an action to address some of these things. Now, in our own vicinities too, we can also form some small associations among ourselves to do community cleaning. You see, gone with the days where every Saturday people were cleaning their gutters, weeding, and all those kind of places. It was helping. You see, so we can begin doing some of these things on a normal day basis. Secondly, I'm also part of the United Global People. And it's also an initiative that is trying to say that united, we can all address the climate issues. United, we can all address the environmental issues that are happening. Now, someone said that if we are thinking about sustainability of the environment, we should also think about the sustainability of the digital age. You see, because now the youth they have access to the digital world. They know what is trending. They know what is going on. And I believe that if they are to channel most of their energy into understanding what is really happening to the earth, we can do much. Now, note something. Sustainability, we are looking at the fact that the benefits you are enjoying today, your children in the next 10, 20, 30 years should enjoy the same benefits. Okay. You understand? Yeah. So anything that you are doing today, if you put anything on the earth's surface, you should note that in the next 5, 10, 20 years, what will happen? So we should think about the future generation rather than thinking about ourselves and then destroying the environment that we live on.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I think now we've learned a lot, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. You guys, I think all of you can attest to the fact that now we are aware that the impact of climate change is not only to the environment, but also has some harm on the human body. You know, I think it can even reduce aging and all that, right?
Yes.
Due to, like, the example
the pollution, for instance. Pollution, for instance, the more you inhale these pollutants, you see, it leads to the destruction of some of your skin cells, your cells. Now, that is what causes a lot of wrinkles and things in the system. Okay. Now, you know, if you look at the radiation that is coming from the sun, okay, it goes through a spectrum. We call it the electromagnetic spectrum. Let me just help you. Now, there are 3 divisions in that spectrum. There is the ultraviolet energy spectrum. Okay. And that is where the energy that comes from that spectrum causes sunburns. Oh, okay. There is the visible energy. That is where we get our sight. Then there is the infrared spectrum for heat. Okay. So you see that during the day, the sun, you are able to see 2 things, light and heat. Is that not it? Yeah. Light and heat. Within the heat, there is the aspect of the ultraviolet energy that is leading to sunburns. And these sunburns causes cancerous cells, cancer. You see? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think today it has been amazing, right?
Yes.
I'm glad now, you know, my viewers and we are enlightened about climate change. And I think we all have a responsibility to, you know, take action to end climate change. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Your last words, your final words?
My final words, what I'll say is that we have to know, we have to understand, so that the earth will not be out of course, that like we are saying. We have to know what is really happening around us. Now, what is the environment? You see, it is us and what surrounds us. So anything that is surrounding you, you have to begin to look at it from a certain perspective. Now, listeners and viewers, what I would say is that anything that is around you, begin to look at it in the last 5, 10, 20 years. What was there? What has changed? You can even make an audit of yourself to see that really things are really happening, and I can take a certain action in my own small way to address some of these things. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So viewers, thank you for joining us today, and I'm glad we've all learned something today. Once again, this is the Drivers of Change show. Here we influence change, and together our world changes. My name is Emmanuel. Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms On Facebook, you can follow me on Entry Emmanuel. On Twitter, you can follow me at Chum Entry. On Instagram, you can follow me at Entry294. Thank you and see you again.